Greetings, salutations, Eddie here. Welcome back to my channel, and today I'm presenting a book review, and today's book review is Lady Midnight by Cassandra Clare. Lady Midnight follows Emma Carstairs, who we were introduced to in City of Heavenly Fire when she was 12 years old, and back then she was just trained to become a Shadowhunter. In this book, set 5 years later, she's become a full-blown Shadowhunter and has a parabatai named Julian Blackthorn, and they live with Julian's family, the Blackthorne family, in the Los Angeles Institute. In this story, there has been a string of murders between human and faeries, and because it's faeries that are being killed, the fairy court, fairy realm, whatever you want to call it, has asked Shadowhunters to investigate, and as a bargaining chip, they give back Julian's brother Mark, who was in the fairy court. And it's like not a day has passed, he didn't age, and he doesn't remember his family. And if they fail to investigate and solve the crimes, they will take Mark back to the fairy realm forever. So there's a crime story that's going on with the supernatural world, and there's also the fact that Emma and Julian are have feelings for one another. Since a parabatai, that's against the law. Basically, if parabatai fall in love, they will be separated. One will stay in that institute while the other one goes and is reassigned to another institute. And they have a warning. If this continues on, both Shadowhunters will be stripped of their runes forever and they will never become Shadowhunters ever again. Sorry, I had to readjust. I felt really far away from everything. This book was announced, this whole trilogy actually was announced while The Mortal Entrance was still going and City of Heavenly Fire was coming out. This was back in 2014, I think. Cassandra Clare has already planned the rest of the Shadowhunter Chronicles. So we have the Dark Artifices, at the time, Dark Artifices, Last Hours, the Wicked Powers, and the Eldest Curses. And I believe the Wicked Powers is going to be the last Shadowhunter series, I believe. At the time, people were like really excited for the Dark Artifices, including myself. Except the books, the Lady Midnight was gigantic as well. And I'm going to be completely honest as well. I did not read any Shadowhunter novel since 2014 since 2014, which was City of Heavenly Fire, or 2015, 2016, I don't know. My mind is right now. My love for the Shadowhunter books were tainted, unfortunately, because of the show. So, my love back then when I first watched the show was tainted because I did not like the first season of that show. Season 2 and 3, like I said before, they improved on Season 1. But at the time, Season 1 tainted my love for Shadowhunter, the books. And so, in quarantine now, I've just been so bored, and I made a plan to myself, do not start any other series unless you, or don't buy any more series until you finish, like, 5 series on your shelf. And so, I have this going on. I have Trials of Apollo, Young Elites, Splintered, and The Last Hours. So I have those books. Of course, being part of the series, I have those books going right now. With, of course, you know, Fury Born and Queen of Hearts and whatever. So I decided to read Lady Midnight. This book took me so freaking long to read. It is 698 pages. At least that's the hardcover part of it is. I started it on December 31st and I finished it on January 13th, which was yesterday. By the time this goes up, it'll probably still be January 14th or 15th. I don't know. So this book took me a while to read. And I gave it a 4.25 out of 5. If I'm rating it on Goodreads, I'm giving it a 4 stars. So I have a few things that I liked and a couple things that I didn't like about the book. So I'll just begin with the things that I did like. Blackthorne family dynamic. I think that the dynamic between Julian and his conversations with Tabby and Livy and Drew and Ty, Mark and Arthur I think it's pretty amazing. I think their family dynamic felt real, and I love that while Julian was the oldest brother at the time before Mark came back, he did not treat his other siblings like youngsters. Even though they are younger than him, he still didn't treat them like babies. And I love that. And their conversations, like references to like superheroes and Sherlock Holmes and Edgar Allan Poe, I think that was a very interesting very fun dynamic and felt realistic. Emma. I think Emma was a really great character. I really loved reading her. It felt kind of funny because she felt like Jace in the sense of her one-liners, her comedy, her conversations between Christina, Diana, Julian, and his siblings, and Malcolm and Johnny. I think those, and Magnus, I think those conversations that Emma has is very interesting, and she was a very compelling character. While she did know her weaknesses, she didn't play the victim to those weaknesses, if that makes sense. And she's a badass with Cortana. I'm not gonna lie, she's a badass with Cortana. I love the setting. The Los Angeles Institute setting is just amazing. If I had to pick out of the 3 institutes that we have read about so far in the, Mortal Instruments, Thrown Devices, and Dark Artifices, I think Los Angeles Institute may be my favorite. It's beachside, it's by the ocean, it's Los Angeles. It's just I would just be perfectly fine in the Los Angeles Institute. And then Julian and Mark. Julian and Mark's brother relationship melt in my heart for the most part. And I'm not going to get into spoilers, even though the book has been out for quite some time. I think that when Mark first came back, he was having a hard time readjusting to the mortal realm, and I think Julian being there for him helped him a lot. And reading the sayings like, Mark, I'm your brother, and this is the real world. Drew, Ty, Tabby, and Livy, they are your siblings. Julian guiding, Julian and Christina and Emma as well. But mainly Julian, guiding him back into the mortal realm and remembering his family, remembering his past, basically, was bittersweet because he was just... One part of it was that he was having a breakdown because he couldn't remember anything. And the other thing is he wants to remember, but he can't. Unless there are some triggers, of course. I think that was a very well done story. And then another thing that I loved was falling back into the world of Shadowhunters. The world of Shadowhunters is just so familiar to me. I just think that whenever I hear runes and seraph blades and Shadowhunters and Nephilims and high warlocks, and I just feel so nostalgic because this series, I'm pointing at the Mortal Instruments, by the way, brought me my closest friends. That and Percy Jackson as well. But mainly the Mortal Instruments, because we would theorize like conspiracy theorists about what would happen in the next book. And I think that the characters I think that the lore with the Shadowhunters and, just everything about the world is just so familiar and calming to me. It's like if you go back into reading Harry Potter, you would feel calm. If you go back into reading the world of Narnia, you would feel calm. For me, jumping back into the world of Shadowhunters is that for me. Not to be dramatic, but every time I read a Shadowhunter book, I'm seeing like them saying like runes and Idris and the Accords and parabatai. It's just nostalgia. Now onto the things that I didn't like. One is the length of the novel. Because I feel like, in my personal opinion, even though some of the scenes were great, it didn't really have to be this long. I'm looking at Lord of Shadows right now and Queen of Air and Darkness. Those books are gigantic, so I'm kind of scared right now. But I think some of the parts of the book was a little bit... didn't really have to be in it. And some of the scenes were kind of unnecessary to me. But I won't get into those because I don't want to get into spoilers. Some of it was filler. Like, we didn't really need some of those scenes, Another thing is, if I hear the name Cameron Ashdown ever again, I'm probably going to throw a seraph blade at Emma's phone. Seraph blade? Emma's phone. Where is it? I will stab you. I got tired of hearing about Cameron Ashdown. Cameron Ashdown this. Cameron Ashdown that. Cameron Ashdown this. Block his number. Just block his number. I'm tired of hearing about Cameron Ashdown. And then the biggest aspect that I should have loved, but I didn't because I just didn't get it. Maybe if I just continued with the trilogy, I would get it. Is Emma and Julian being a couple. Together, I like them as friends. Kind of like Clary and Simon from Mortal Instruments. But as a couple, I don't know yet. Because I know that the whole thing is that since they're parabatai, they can't be together. If they were to be caught, they would be separated. And if they are to be caught again, they would be stripped of their runes permanently and they will never become Shadowhunters ever again. But I think that if, as the trilogy goes on, I feel like I will like them a little bit more. I feel like that's where I was at with, like, also with Clary and Jace, because I didn't like Jace in the first book, but then as the series went on, I did start to like him. Maybe I have to read the trilogy. If I continue with the trilogy, which I will, if I continue with the trilogy, then I may start liking them together. But right now, I'm not an Emma and Julian shipper. I'm not judging anybody who is, but as for me right now, I'm not. But I'm hoping that I will in the future books. Final thought is, this is a really great start to a trilogy. And I really love I just love Emma and Julian, but together, not yet, like I said. The Blackthorne family dynamic was great. The world of Shadowhunter is just amazing as usual. The setting was great. The story was great. Some of the scenes could have been cut out because it's a long book. And I'm really excited to start Lord of Shadows next. It's a pretty big book. I don't know what happens in this. I don't know what happens in Queen of Air and Darkness, and I'm going to keep it that way. Anyways, that's going to be it for me from today. If you guys enjoyed this video, please big thumbs up and comment down below your thoughts of this book and what did you think of it. Be honest, I won't judge. No one's going to judge. It's okay. And is this your favorite Cassandra Clare novel? Is it your least favorite? As of right now, it's in the middle for me. My all-time favorite Cassandra Clare novel is Clockwork Princess. That's my favorite Cassandra Clare novel. No one can tell me otherwise. Followed by City of Glass. For more content, hit that subscribe button and I'll see everyone soon in my next video. Deuces.